Hello and welcome to Blogging for Programmers. This is episode 29. And today I want to talk a little bit more about examples. On the board, I've got this thing where I've got 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 1 plus 3 equals 4, 1 plus 4 equals 9, 3. It's backwards on my screen, so that's not exactly what I wrote. Now, what does that mean? This could actually easily be a discussion of testing, and you should absolutely test your code and make sure it gives you the right answers. But sometimes let's consider that adding numbers is a really big thing. And when you do certain things, it's not going to do it right because it's a computer. And there are some times, like if you're using a float example, where you have that problem. But what I want to talk about today is trying the insane, trying the edges, go to the boundaries of computing that you can do. So give examples, but give crazy examples. Sort of like testing software. Test your boundaries, test large data sets, test small data sets, null data sets, one with one value, no values. I did this series of blogs on generating sequences. And what I did was I tried the different algorithms. I just wanted to show one algorithm. And I was like, there's other algorithms. I should put those in there too. And I could compare them for performance and how long they took. And then I was like, at a small set, they're not that different. One was clearly better and when one was clearly worse, the thing that I was trying to show was worse. But it wasn't so worse that, it was terrible. Terrible. Wasn't terrible, it was terrible. But then I said, what if I tried to generate 10,000 of these and then 100,000? And I kept going until I did 100 million. And let me tell you, 100 million starts to actually work your computer. I tried to do 1 billion and it was just a little much. So, think about how you can take things to the distance. For example, imagine you writing a blog about things you could put in a deep fryer. And what would you do? You're like on chicken and fish and the fries. These are good things. But then think the carnival aspect of this. What could you do if you went to a carnival and someone gave you a deep fryer and said, have at it? You would try things. Whoever would have thought deep frying an Oreo would be a good thing, or a Snickers bar, or Twinkies, ice cream, a cheesesteak. This is where it actually got where I got the inspiration for this was someone had deep fried a cheesesteak, and I'm like, how would you do that? You batter anything, you can fry it. But that's weird stuff. That's weird examples. What about the stuff that's just nuts? Almost dangerous. So if you were to have a deep fryer of your own and you could go have a little fun with, there's a couple things I would tell you to try. One is ice cubes. Ice cubes are the greatest. That sizzling you get when you put something in a deep fryer? It's the water coming out. And I actually learned this one by accident when I was working at a Wendy's many years ago. You accidentally drop some water or ice cube in a deep fryer and you learn what happens. It hurts. If you've ever watched the Mythbusters TV show in the past, they would take it and they would probably get a spray can, throw it in the deep fryer, a hand grenade. Now all this is done in a controlled environment. So don't try this at home, as someone may have said on that show a few thousand times. But when you're writing a blog, it is really good to sometimes go to that level. Become a Mythbuster. Someone tells you that you can't do something with an algorithm or a function or something. Try it. Prove it. Prove that you can. Maybe not that it's the best, but like the example I'll use for this, someone had said that never use a recursive CTE to generate numbers. And I was like, well, okay. And it's really, really bad. It's really slow. Don't do that. It's really slow. And so I was like, well, how slow, So I decided I would try it. And of course it ended up, taking me a couple days and stuff. But at the end, I can tell you how slow it is on a certain set of hardware, obviously. Can't tell you if you had 50 CPUs or if you had one CPU. I know that my 6 CPU machine did it in a certain amount of time, and you can see the gradual increase in time based on bad algorithm versus really good algorithm. But knowing these boundaries and edges are fantastic. I was doing this blog on select star, and I said it was good in an exist expression. A lot of people took umbrage to that. And some of the reasons were logical. And, it's easier to search for select star that's done improperly in your code versus select star that might be in a location which it's not so bad. And it's not really bad in the exist clause. And then someone named Brad Schultz, who used to be an MVP. I think I ran into him a couple times, but he saw my post and he said, you should read this blog. And this was the perfect example of a blog that I just love, because he said he tried all sorts of things in the select clause to see if there was a difference, to see if it would break. And he did 4,000 items in the select list in one, and then he tried it up to 10,000 to see if it would break the exists. And it did, and did in certain different ways. But then he included a link to a post that Connor Cunningham, honestly, one of my heroes of relational databases over my career. And he said, because he actually builds, he's one of the leads that builds SQL Server's engine for us, right? And he was like, yes, it's marginally slower, but they do take the arguments you send to the exist clause and they expand them, and they have to check them. So that, yes, they do expand the star into all the columns of the table, and they do verify all the things you put in the list. It doesn't matter. They're not evaluated. Like, you can do 1 over 0, which is, cause a divide by 0 error, but they are checked. And so it's marginally faster to do select 1. And I learned, absolutely, these are the things that from Brad's piece, I learned that you can put 4,000 things in a select statement and it'll start breaking, or you can put 10,000 in an exist clause and it will not break. I learned that, you could do all these crazy things. And then I learned from this reference, and references are awesome. Okay. Just saying, totally awesome. Give references, read other people's blogs, but try things. If they don't try it, you try it. So if something says you can have 200 characters in a string, or you can have 200 clients, or you can have 50 items in a list, or 50 networked computers. If you have 50 computers sitting around and this is 50, try the 50. Then try 51. And if 51 works, try 52. Now, I know that's unlikely because that's a ridiculous number of computers to have probably in your house, but try it. Try it and share it. These are the blogs that are kind of fun to read. You learn something and you're entertained by, what could you metaphorically throw in a deep fryer and get out. And sometimes you may learn something, like, by golly, deep fried ice cream is awesome. So I hope this helps. Hope this will make you write blogs that go crazy and try things and share things. And if not, well, that's all I got. All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye.